Welcome yet again for our weekly bout of Monkey Business from the studios of WFC3. It's Chris talking to you and leading the conversation as always with my friends and family. Bill, Billy DeTore, Tanya, Wayne, Tony, Kelsey, Deanna on the phone. And with us today, a big contributor to the cosplay component of FC3 going forward, it's Rika Witzel. Hey, Rika, how you doing?
I'm all right. How about you?
Hanging in there. All things considered, I know you're a little under the weather today.
Yeah.
That's no fun, especially with the way the weather's been like roller coastering all over the place.
Under the weather.
Yeah, I'm literally under it.
I think we all are. It's still snowing outside, so it's kind of wild. We can see it from the studio where we're at right now.
Make sure you're wrapped up in a nice, toasty, warm blanket.
Oh, yeah, I pretty much made a fort.
Yeah, you were
Nice.
saying that when you were texting
Right,
earlier. I'm
fort
going to build myself a
rule.
fort.
Yeah.
Forts are awesome.
She's in her blanket fort coloring.
Never, ever be too old to make blanket forts.
Yes.
All right, so
we do it at conventions all the time.
there you go. So Rika and Kelsey are with us today because their biggest thing is cosplay, which is a facet of conventions that have been around for quite some time. It's been, it's not as recent as a lot of people may think, but it's really become kind of a culture in the past few years. It's really kind of taking on a life of its own. Rika, do you find that like it's the current generation of tweens and kids and college kids? Is it the current generation that's really making a thing of it, or is it something that's always been kind of just been handed down?
Well, there's definitely a large range of ages that are participating right now.
Mm-hmm.
In our local scene, for sure, the college kids definitely kind of rule the roost and make a lot of the events happen, the smaller events, the meetups. But it's definitely for all ages, and you still see people even in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and so on, showing up at cons and doing what they love. And everyone has deep respect for these people who've been doing it since much longer than us, since before it was really this big of a culture thing.
That's cool. How long have you been into it now?
Going on 5-6 years now.
Uh-huh. What was your first cosplay?
Oh, man. It's hard to remember because it was so long ago.
Uh-huh.
Not counting, original characters or anything I did before just for fun. I think my first official cosplay was Lucy from Elf and Lead, 6 years ago at Dorcon.
Okay. All right. How about you, Kelsey?
Oh, gosh. I started about 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
My first cosplay was Kyo-Soma from Fruits Basket.
Fruits Basket?
Mm-hmm.
That's a thing?
Yep.
Now, is that...
It's Emily's favorite.
It's for Emily. Okay, so I should know that.
What's in the fruit basket?
What's that?
What kind of fruit's in the fruit basket?
I don't know. What's the whole...
It's about this orphan girl who's just living in the woods in a tent because she doesn't want to bother anybody, and then she stumbles upon this house full of guys that turn into animals when you hug them, and
you hug them.
Yes.
So if you don't touch them, then they're normal.
Then they're normal people.
Okay. All right. So
and there's this whole family drama within because it's the zodiac, the Chinese zodiac. So
Is this a show?
yeah, it's an anime. Anime.
Okay.
yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Can I ask, where did you do this, and did anyone else know what you were? And I'm serious.
That anime is
what type of?
Yeah, it's pretty popular anime.
Okay, it's just it's a sort of form of geekdom that I'm not as familiar with.
Yeah,
and I do see a lot of it at conventions, but I never know who they are. I don't know what they represent or.
It's actually really ironic that my first cosplay was from an anime because now it's really rare for me to cosplay from an anime. So I'm in the same boat with you. I don't recognize a lot of new animes.
There's a lot of anime out there.
There's a ton of it.
There's a ton.
It's mass produced.
And there's so much anime coming out and so much that's been out there. I remember Harlock back in the day and Star Blazers back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
And it's now it's so much is I can't even keep up.
Yeah.
I'm glad we don't have the anime network 24 hours a day.
Now, Rika, you kind of touch on an interesting point. You say you're not as into anime anymore. Do you find that a lot of the characters you're doing, are they original characters, ones that you're creating yourself?
No, I don't do that very often
Okay.
either. I mostly cosplay from video games and American media. I wouldn't say that I'm not so much into anime anymore. I just it never was my favorite.
Gotcha.
Media. There's definitely a few characters that I've cosplayed or animes that stuck out to me. I've watched a lot of the classics, but some people keep up with all the newest, hottest animes, and this season is actually the first time that I've gotten into the fad anime in a long time, and that's the ice skating one.
Okay.
Oh, yes,
Yuri on Ice. Yeah. That's going to be one of the hot animes this season.
Oh,
for
yeah.
sure.
Okay.
The ice skating ones, the basketball ones, the baseball ones.
Sports
the
anime.
Prince
has
of Tennis.
exploded.
Shonen genre is just huge.
It's like
Sports
just,
animes.
It's just soap opera.
I didn't even think of it. Listening to Rika talking about it, it almost kind of like I almost felt like I had my own Entertainment Tonight fashion reporter. Well, this is going to be what's hot this season, and I'm like, holy Christmas, that's true. That's you got to keep an eye on that. There's trending stuff going on.
Yes. Well, in terms of the convention season, there's always that one anime that you see like 500 people cosplaying from. It's been Attack on Titan in the past. That was the last really big one that a lot of people did.
Okay.
Because there were so many characters in that anime, I think that's why you saw literal armies of people at conventions and cosplay from that. But I don't think it'll be quite to that scale this time, but we'll definitely be seeing a lot of it.
Now, when things are not as popular, do you find that they're completely ignored, like they fall out of favor? Like Attack on Titan, you made a mention to it, and we have Trina Nishimura, who voiced Mikasa in the English dubs, and she is going to be coming to FC3 in May. Is this kind of thing where like, well, that's already past tense?
Well, I think the manga is still releasing more, and I think the actual anime is still in production. I'm not entirely sure. Don't quote me on that because I'm not following it right now, but I know the manga is still active, so there's definitely people who are still interested in it.
Did we get the live action one here in the States? Or I know
I've heard people
Japan.
talk about it.
Yeah,
I think that was just in Japan.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's been subbed and people have watched it,
Yeah.
but like I don't.
it's like the live action Star Blazers
That was good. I remember
liked
seeing
it.
that. I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
It was hard to start getting used to because I don't watch a lot of subtitled stuff, so it was hard to get used to that. But once you did, it was easy to deal with. It was a great show. All right, so Kelsey, what's your favorite character to cosplay?
Oh gosh.
She did so many in one of our videos.
Is she the We Are the World of cosplayers? Just everybody?
I mean,
To tangent, go ahead.
I have more than 30 costumes at this point.
I remember you used the bulk of them when we did the flip-flop video last year.
Yes, I used quite a few of those. Oh, gosh. Well, I mean, part of what makes a costume really fun is, like, your con experience in the costume. So I think my favorite so far has been Aoba Saragaki from Dramatical Murder, because I cosplayed that, like, 2 years ago, right when Dramatical Murder was huge.
Okay.
And, like,
So you
everybody
kinda hit the
was
wave there.
cosplaying it. Yeah, if you hit a wave, it's so much fun. Like, I was at Katsucon, and we were having pizza with some people we had never met before, just sitting in a circle having fun. And, like, everybody recognizes you, even if your costume isn't stellar, because every other person is dressed as that. It was just a lot of fun being Alba.
And I want to touch on that quality stuff, but I'm going to do that a little bit because I want to ask the same question to Rika. Rika, what do you have a costume that is, like, first and foremost, your favorite? That one that when you're thinking about your collection, that one that you just like, I need a reason to play this person again.
The second that you asked her that question, I was like, oh, no.
Oh, no.
It's coming to me.
Yeah, I knew. Yeah, okay.
That's a really difficult question for me because I have so many, and also I've been fortunate to have such awesome friends that we have a good time at pretty much any convention. I would have to say if I had to pick one, it's not really one I do anymore, but my old Homestuck cosplay, Mind Fang, was the one that I wore to the most cons, the most times, and I remade it 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
So I have 3 different versions of this one character, and I definitely had a lot of fun meeting people and doing photo shoots in that costume. So I have the most nostalgic and sentimental memories attached to that one for sure. But when I did Vaporeon for Pokemon Go, I would also say that's a pretty close second right now because people really thought that the sign that said, "Would you like to power up Vaporeon?" was funny. So that was a lot of fun, too. It's really hard to say that there's one favorite.
Okay. All right. So now, Homestuck, I've heard that before. Is that like a popular thing that people draw from?
Homestuck is an American webcomic, and its fad has actually kind of passed now as well because the comic came to an end, and there's like an epilogue in process, but for the most part, there's not as many people showing up to the meetups. This is a fandom that in the past, meetups at conventions were hundreds of people strong to the point where the security for the con had to shut them down.
Okay. Jeez. All right. There's a lot going on there. Now, I'm going to change tangent because Kelsey had touched on something when she said different quality levels. You know, it's so the cosplay community, I don't feel, are they a judgmental lot? Like if I just showed up with a bare bones kind of just slapped together with some stuff at home, and I showed up and it was a loose representation of a particular character, that nobody's going to really poo-poo that really that much, are they? They're a fairly accepting bunch, I hope.
I would say that depends highly on your attitude because if you walk in acting like you own the place and you're not really well put together,
okay.
some people will definitely get poo-poo. Yeah, well, some people will get poo-poo about it. I mean, for the most part, everybody is either so caught up in what they're doing or they're just having so much fun they don't have time to judge others. There's definitely some people in the bunch who are like that, and all they do is sit in a corner and judge everyone the whole time. But, if you're really going to spend a convention like that, then you're not there for the same reason as everyone else anyway. It's definitely overall an accepting bunch in general. You're going to find your bad eggs anywhere.
Okay. Yeah, in every genre, in every culture, I would assume. I have cosplayed once in my entire life. I've cosplayed once, and that's because way back when, because I'm a big Doctor Who fan, my mom humored me and knitted me a scarf. So I have a 19-foot-long Tom Baker 4th Doctor scarf.
Did you have the hat?
I did not have the proper hat, but I had a fedora.
Did you have the hair?
I never had the hair. Okay, I never had the hair. I found a coat. I put a dress shirt on. I threw a tie on, a loose tie, and I tried to kind of slap together. It was definitely a cheesy 4th Doctor. And I remember walking into the convention nervous as hell, because here I am. And I'm like, this was a whole new thing, and I wasn't sure. I mean, are other people going to be dressed up? Are other people going to be dressed up? I don't see any. Okay. There's a guy who's got. Okay, he looks like he might have a Star Trek uniform on. Okay.
How long ago was this?
This was for me a half a lifetime ago, and I'm going to tell you that you were not alive for that.
Was this?
I don't know.
It was creation.
Downtown Holiday Inn?
Yeah, Downtown Holiday Inn, Creation Convention for Doctor Who and Star Trek.
Chances are you weren't around.
I was 19.
It's funny because now if you're looking for a convention, like you're driving to the location, you're like, where is it? I can't find the building. You'll see at least 30 people walking.
Yes.
You can tell.
It's like when you go to Anime North and you're driving down Dixon Road and they've got like all the hotels on Dixon Road out by the airport, and you see people walking a mile in costume.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. A couple years ago, Susan and I went to Pittsburgh, and we're going for a Paul McCartney concert and a baseball game. And I didn't realize when we got to our hotel, we're seeing it turned out to be the world's largest furry convention.
Oh God!
and we're just surrounded by foxes and kitties and all. Wow, am I missing something nerdy by being? And
I don't know if that's actually nerdy.
Yeah, it is. It is.
There's definitely overlap. There's a good amount of overlap.
There's overlap in everything.
Communities.
All right.
I wound up having to Google to see where I was. What's going on here?
What is going on here?
What do you guys think of Heroes of Cosplay? You must have seen that.
Oh, gosh.
Can I plead the fifth? Let me. The most polite response I can give is that I think it gives the public with no knowledge of cosplay a very wrong impression of what cosplay is about.
Okay.
So it's not cutthroat. I want to win the $25 prize at whatever convention I'm going to that week.
It's not even just that. A lot of the people that they film on there have like endless access to extremely expensive materials, and people to make things for them. And I think for an outsider looking in, it's like, oh well, I don't look like that, and I don't have that kind of money, so I can't do this. And I think that's the wrong message. We don't want to send that at all. We want to say, hey, it doesn't matter your shape, size, gender, you know, how much money you have, what kind of materials you have access to, or even if you can sew or not, you're welcome here.
Right.
You know, we want that. And I feel like that show did a really bad job of sending that message. So I will end the comment there because
that's valid.
I don't think against any of the talented people that were on it, but I just feel like since it was a big show and it gave such a public, a general public impression, I just think it didn't do the right job.
Okay. And that's valid because that's something, as a convention director, I sit here and I think about the different facets that we try to bring in. And for me, the bottom line is I want to make sure that everybody who walks in the front door of FC3 is having a good time. Yeah. They're exposed to something positive. They're exposed to something they've never seen before, and they're excited about it. So, to be able to say, all right, you put a funny looking scarf on and you're going to say you're the 4th Doctor, even though it's like 3-foot long scarf, but it's got the pattern on it. So, close enough. Good. Have some fun. Come on in. I want to be able to have those people feel as welcome as the folks who spent 6 months working on this particular outfit so that they could present it at this particular show on this particular day. You were talking about how like people will have outfits just to pick up their tickets.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
cosplaying to badge
separate
pickup.
cosplay, just the Toricon badge pickup. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So that's definitely something you want to reach out to these people and let them know that at every skill level, from no skill whatsoever to you are a master craftsperson, you're going to be welcome. You're going to have a good time, and so that's the kind of culture you like to represent too. I've heard that when we've talked.
Yes.
See. You're a woman of few words, Rika. I love that.
No, I've heard.
She doesn't feel good
I
today.
know. We're going to go easy on her. Tony, go ahead.
I've heard of this thing called the cosplay curse, where they overplan too many costumes. Is that a thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, you see it more in people who do more simple outfits because they'll pick one character and do like 5 versions of that same character in a day. That's something I don't do or understand, but I have great respect for people who actually
That
feel
means
like
you have to have a
changing
room
their
at the
clothes.
hotel. Because you got to have space for all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I've
I've
seen
seen people
Kelsey's
changing their car.
closet for costumes.
Oh, no.
I have a whole rack in my basement.
Oh, wait. I remember I was driving some friends up to Anime North, and their costumes, I had a Ford Taurus wagon, and their costumes took up all the back of the car.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, sometimes people, if there's like 3 or 4 people in a room, like one car will have all the costumes and props, and one car will have all the people.
All the people
Yes.
in it. Okay.
Because they
I only
can't
take
all
one
fit.
passenger with me.
Uh-huh.
Typically, that's my limit is one passenger because I fold down both my back seats. And for a big con, you know, for an out-of-state con, I will fill the entire back of my car. And it's like, okay, who am I taking? Which one of you doesn't cosplay or has no luggage? You.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can bring a backpack that's got to sit on your lap.
Yep.
Pretty much.
I do have a friend like that, so
All right, here's another on-the-spot question for you, Rika. Is there a character that you have not yet attempted, but you're like, it's a holy grail kind of a character, one that you just want to try or you're working on right now?
yes, I added that to my drawing board for some time in 2017, hopefully.
Okay. Do you want to spill who that is, or are you going to hold the mystery on that?
It's not a specific who, but I've always, when I first started, I was like, man, I played World of Warcraft a lot when I first started cosplaying, and then I, quit because I wanted to pass college. But
Yeah, I'm so glad I
Lofty
discovered
goals.
World of Warcraft in my adult years, because if I had found it when I was in college, that would have been bad. It would have been very bad.
Absolutely. I definitely played a lot during my earlier years in college, and that was not going to be able to spill over to when I was cosplaying. But I told myself right from the beginning, one day I'm going to do something from World of Warcraft. And I didn't really want to do a specific named character because a lot of them have already been done.
Right.
But I picked an armor set and a class, which was the Undead Priest.
Okay.
That I wanted to do since forever, since that was one of my main characters. And it's going to happen eventually.
Okay.
I just have to have more time on my hands for sure.
All right, just to kind of clue you in on how much of a Warcraft geek I am, what tier on the armor set?
Oh, what's it called? Absolution.
Okay, I know the one.
The one with the faces on the shoulders.
Yep, I know the one.
Yep.
I've never
to,
played a priest, but I've seen a few of them.
Well, you know those styrofoam heads that people put their wigs on?
Uh-huh.
I'm going to mutilate those and then kind of seal them and paint them and turn them into the part of the shoulder armor. So
Oh,
Nice.
my
it's kind
God.
of like this, wow.
I can't
It'll be
wait to see
funny.
that. I really can't wait to see that.
gosh.
That's going to be awesome.
Someday. Probably, I don't know, late 2017, I'm hoping. Originally, I was thinking early 2017, but not with the semester I have next semester.
No, I can imagine. Well, as always, I'm always telling you, if there's anything we can do to help, let us know. Even if it's just standing around holding things in place while the glue dries.
Sometimes just having someone stand there creepily and yell at me makes me more productive. 'Cause otherwise, I'm like, I can take this break.
Hey, as an executive director, I can definitely do that. Yeah. Now I'm repositioning myself in the studio right now, and I'm looking in Kelsey's direction.
He's
so
getting out of hitting range.
I'm not getting out of hit. I'm refocusing.
You don't need to be out of hitting range.
I'm going to take the same question I just asked Rika, and I'm going to pose it to you now. Because I like this. You guys are my voices here, so I want to hear what you have to say. Is there a dream, a holy grail character that you are looking forward to doing?
Well, I don't know if I even have the skill set possible for this one. But I've always wanted to cosplay something from Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword.
Okay.
And I'm currently working on my Zelda cosplay, but I really want to cosplay Girahim.
Okay, I don't know who that is. Tell me a little more about the character. And that's just from the video game, right? Okay.
Yeah, he's the Demon Lord. His hair's ridiculous, but not as ridiculous as it could be, considering other anime hair. But
Anime hair.
just
With all the pointy, spiky things
he
all over
just
the
has
place.
like this. I don't even know how to describe it. You'd
There
have
were
to look
hand
it up.
gestures involved in that
But,
attempt at a description.
It kind of just brushes over one eye, and
Okay.
the
All
other
anime
side is
costumes
pulled
brush
back.
over one eye.
That's true.
The
I
other
noticed
side
that.
is pulled back, so
Yeah.
I need some kind of.
I've seen that in
Kind
Kingdom
of like
Hearts.
a swoosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, but his outfit is the most ridiculous thing. It's like a leotard that
I
goes
actually know exactly what you're
Yeah,
talking
yeah,
about.
it's
I know
ridiculous.
someone who did it one time.
Oh my gosh. So it's
I'll
a
have to get you in
leotard.
contact with her.
There you go.
There you go.
There we go.
So Rika's going to get Kelsey in touch with that person. That's awesome. See, that's connections.
Diamond cutouts.
I'm learning a lot, actually, because when I think of cosplay, now even going to Fan Expo, which is one of the bigger cons in North America, I think of seeing 50 Harley Quinns within half an hour.
Oh, yeah, that's the Suicide Squad effect, right? Yeah.
Well, that was
Even
the fad
before
thing.
that.
It was just, that's what happens when there's a fad thing. There used to be a million of one thing.
Now, one of the coolest things, the reason I started watching Doctor Who, or one of the reasons, was that my wife and I saw someone dressed as a weeping angel.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
that's really cool.
To the point where, let's go up and ask them who they are, because we didn't know. And when that's something we've got to look into. But Wayne, you and Chris, Mystery Science Theater 3000, I saw someone dressed as Gypsy at Niagara Falls Comic-Con.
Oh, wow.
And to me, that was my favorite thing ever, because there was just many people that had no idea who that was. And I got the biggest kick out of seeing Gypsy. Has anyone ever come up to you cosplayers and said, "Who are you?" and then hopefully got into whatever it was that?
I think what you're asking is, have we ever done something that's nostalgic that no one knows, but then you get that one person that recognizes it and gets doubly excited,
Well,
right?
that and someone that maybe doesn't know who you are, but your costume is so good, they ask you about it.
Absolutely, all the time.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people who don't know they'll walk into a convention, they don't know what anything is, but they're like, "You look really cool. Can I take a picture of you?" They don't care.
Yeah.
That's how
Especially
the Weeping
children.
Angel effect would
Yeah.
be.
Yeah, children like anything. I feel like taking a child to a convention is brilliant because it's like Disney World for free.
Exactly.
There's all these costume characters walking around. And I mean, I wouldn't speak on behalf of the entire community, but I think most of us are pretty good at dealing with the general public and with children when it comes to posing for photos. We're used to it.
Oh, I've seen it often. I mean, well, Kelsey and her surly human sidekick, Emily, my other favorite intern. I'm going to pay for that one later when Emily sees me finally. But, the two, they do the sisters from Frozen. A lot of when we go out and we advertise the convention at various places like Strong Museum will play, things like that, they'll do Anna and Elsa. And just to see the expression on the children's faces when
their eyes are saucers.
Oh my God, it's amazing, and it never gets old. It's like every time we do it, we're bringing Anna and Elsa again. It's is this going to get tired? No, because
I did that myself for a while, and it got a little tired. It got a little tired.
It got a little tired.
It got a little tired. It's
little
very grabby.
For the people cosplaying, I guess, but just like.
But seeing the expression, and then and you and Em are so good with the kids too. You're so patient with them. They'll come up for the pictures and whatnot. And what the last time we were at Strong, and the guy just handed you the baby?
Oh, yeah, this woman was just like, "Can you take a picture with him?" And I'm like, "Sure." And I expected her to, like, hold her own baby.
No.
She just hands me this child. I'm like, "Oh, okay." Because I've, like, never held a baby in my life, and this woman just trusted me with her infant. I'm
well,
like,
you're a princess, though. There you have.
Yeah.
You must have some sort of royal decree, right? Okay.
That was really scary.
I mostly did birthday
I have a
parties.
question for our cosplayers, and I hope they don't take this the wrong way or come across as offensive. What first drew you guys to get into the cosplay?
Yeah, that's completely offensive, Deanna. What the hell?
Yeah, I'm offended.
I better delay that.
Let's put that on delay. What the hell? God,
I
D.
need a safe space. I'm offended.
Do I need to bring pizza?
That would be really great.
There we go.
Because
That
some people,
makes
if you
any
ask them
space
why they
sense.
do stuff, they get very defensive, and because they might have other issues or something. I think it's interesting that there are some people who look at that as just dressing up, and some people look at it as cosplaying.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some people who also believe it's a form of escapism and that we all just are so deeply damaged that we hate to be ourselves and we need to be someone else to be happy.
I've heard that
That's
theory,
probably
actually.
the
Yeah.
only theory that I've heard that's, like, quote, offensive. And I mean, if people really want to feel that way, then I can't imagine that they'd want to be around a convention anyway. But for the rest of us, I mean, I think the art of creating the costume, if you're somebody who creates costumes, is definitely a large part of it because it's therapeutic to make something until you start crying when you mess up. Then it's not therapeutic anymore.
That Warbler was $80.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, but it's a learning experience. It's learning a new skill. It's meeting new people from all over the country. I mean, I think what originally got me into it was just the general draw of doing something different that I'd always wanted to do since I was younger. But then what kept me was meeting all the new people. And you see these people again every year because you go to the same cons. And as you travel, you meet people who are also traveling from far away that you wouldn't normally see at all. So it becomes this like tight-knit group of people that you never see outside of cons, and it's so magical when you do get to see them.
Cool.
And this is not going to be the only conversation we have on a podcast about cosplay. All right. So going forward, I want to bring in some other elements, and we're not wrapping up just yet, but I want to make sure that we understand that there's a lot to this. This is a very deep and complex kind of a thing. So kind of topic that I want to touch on a little bit is how cosplay can be considered a little on the risque side. And what that does in terms of the mantra that Kelsey and I were talking about in the warm-up for the 2016 FC3, cosplay is not consent. So these are the things that I want to talk about as well. And so, Rika, if I can get some of your thoughts on that, because have you seen out in the culture that things can get a little dicey?
Absolutely. Yeah, especially at bigger cons like New York Comic Con. You have a lot of things that are happening without, I wouldn't say without consent because it sounds so much more dramatic than it really is, but when at New York Comic Con, for example, people will take your photo without asking, and if you're trying to adjust your costumes, change, or eat.
Yeah.
And they'll just do it anyway. The even deeper, worse side of that is some people claim that they've been touched or approached, or that one of my friends said that she was motorboated once.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's things that happen that, you really wish they didn't, or you don't see them coming. One of my other friends had somebody stick their finger in her mouth because she had fake teeth in, and he wanted to touch them.
Oh, my God.
So
there's some weird stuff going on out there.
Yeah. So there's definitely boundary issues.
Boundaries, yeah.
But I think that's more to do with the people coming to the convention who have no idea.
So that's why we're going to make sure that we.
Well, yeah, we're setting the ground rules. I can't speak for any other convention, but I can speak for FC3 because this is what the podcast is about. And I want to make sure that we start that conversation early, because then when May 20th and 21st rolls around next year, people who come to the show know there are lines that are drawn.
Right. And I think the most important thing is to let them know that the staff members will do something if something happens. Whereas at many cons, the staff members will not get involved, or they'll be like, oh, it's hearsay, and they won't bother dealing with something. I think the reason they do that is because they think they're going to be dealing with a lot more accusations than they really are.
Right.
It's not something that happens a lot of the time, but if somebody truly feels unsafe, or someone's touched them or tried to take a photo of their skirt or something, the best thing that you can do is, be there and actually, take their issue seriously and try to work it out, because a lot of the time, especially with bigger cons, the staff are so busy with other things. They're kind of laissez-faire. They're like, work it out yourself. They aren't really there to help people feel safer. Whereas if you say, if you feel uncomfortable, or if somebody says something inappropriate to you, or they touch you, you can come get a staff member at any time.
Exactly, and that's the kind of thing we're working on, like doubling our volunteer staff so we can cover more ground. And as in my personal opinion, as one of the 5 executive directors, and Deanna and Tanya are on that same list with me. We've I don't know if zero tolerance, because you don't want to run the risk of being too heavy-handed, but I want to make it very clear that I want cosplayers to come to FC3 and know there is a level of safety that they can expect. That if something happens, that we're not going to we're not going to brush them off. We're going to take them seriously. That we'll talk to people, and we'll be happy to give people warnings and say, hey, if there was a miscommunication, I want you to be aware that there was now this is where we stand, and then that's your one warning. Anything else, and guess what? There's the door. Have a nice day.
Right, absolutely.
So and that's important, because when you're putting yourself out there, because for me, cosplay has always been one of those more ultimate levels of expression. Like, I'm a writer. I write books, and for me, I don't have to worry about it. I launch the story out there. If you read it and like it, great. If you don't, I'm not too stressed out about it, because I'm not doing this for a career. I have a safety level because I'm sitting at my desk at home.
Right. And this is something where people will rip apart your appearances.
Exactly.
It's much
to
more
your
personal,
face.
for sure.
I would imagine that's probably there's going to be some in-person. Kelsey, you've seen some of that happen. I can see you're like, yeah, oh my God, you started cringing as soon as I brought that up.
It's pretty rare, though. Most people are pretty cowardly. And
most people, like, either they'll throw some shade online, or they'll just, like, snicker off with their friends, and you'll hear about it maybe, or probably not. See, most people are just not that mean that they would go up to someone like me who's a child and be like, wow, you suck. Like, they don't usually do that.
I can imagine it would happen, though. But this, I can imagine that, like I was saying, cosplay is that ultimate sense of really just personal expression at this kind of a level, at this kind of an event. You're
Right.
really putting yourself out there, and saying, hey, this is me. Accept me or not, but this is me, and I'm having fun with this. And it's a lot more personal that way.
Well, and also beyond this is me, it's this is me, and I'm imitating this character. And I think for some people, unfortunately, they don't really go along with the generally accepted feeling that anyone can cosplay any character of any body type, etc. And some people like to attack others based on their, as a person, body type not matching up with the character that they're cosplaying.
Oh, yeah. And that's something we'll talk about going forward, absolutely.
Yeah, so that's definitely something that, out of all the things that are most likely for somebody to say something rude in person, I feel like that's the number one offender, is that people will say something in person if they feel that this person is really doing a disservice to the character by cosplaying them. And, it's really not their place to say that, especially, not that the people who do own the characters would say that, but it's not their character to be policing.
Right.
So it just makes people feel bad and gives a negative environment in general.
Okay. Very cool. And like I said, this is the foundation. This is the beginning of cosplay conversations for the FC3 podcasts. And going forward, we're going to talk a little bit more about how we're all going to come together and we're going to present, and how we'll do costume contests and various events and panels and things that we're going to be doing, and how we'll present this particular aspect of the genre to our friends and family and fans.
And we're going to get Billy into cosplay.
And we're going to get Billy into cosplay. I want to see him as Scarlet Witch. Ooh.
I don't know if Susan wants to see that.
I honestly don't think I do either. But anyway, but Rika,
Don't make
thank
me
you
be
so
Dr.
much.
Manhattan.
Yeah, there you go. Jeez. So Rika, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you're feeling better. And the next time we're going to bring up cosplay or some other podcast, I hope you're healthy enough to join us in the studio.
Yes.
So we're going to wrap it up for this particular conversation.
Okay.
And so with that being said, I'm going to look over to Tony, who's got the out cue.
Nerds and geeks, this has been Monkey Business, a Mighty Monkey production. Mighty Monkey Productions of Rochester, New York, creators and presenters of the Flower City Comic-Con, presenting their second show, May 20th and 21st of 2017, at the Riverside Convention Center. Follow us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/FC3ROC. So much fun.
I think I could be like Iron Man.